Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you decide that you are watching this video. We are going to get into Unit 3, Lesson 2, continue with looking at y equals mx plus b. This time we're going to graph or create a table from an equation. So we're going to look at this, remember slope and y-intercept. We are going to use that to create a graph or a table. So let's get started here. First thing we want to remember is that we want to have our equation y equals, I'm going to kind of color code here a little bit to maybe help us, mx plus and b. Remember, my blue is my slope. Oops, that's not blue. That's actually blue. Let's try that again. This is my slope. And my red, my letter B, is my y-intercept. Okay, remember, this tells us how steep our line is, and this tells us where we cross the y-axis. So how do we graph an equation using slope and y-intercept? Well, first, you need to find the y-intercept. Remember, that's the letter B in our equation. Be sure the equation is in that form, y equals mx plus b. Okay, if it's not in that form, try to put it in that form. See if you can solve for y, get the y by itself. So once you find the y-intercept, you want to find the slope. That's our letter m. Okay, we have our b, we have our m, we find our slope. Then we graph the y-intercept, and we'll show you how to do that here in a second. Remember that y-intercept is the letter b. Then we're going to use the slope, change in y over the change in x, to move up or down from the y-intercept. That's the y-intercept is the change in y, then left or right is our change in x to graph the second point and a third point. Technically, you only need 2 points to graph a line. I always say graph 3 because that gives you a better idea of where your line is going, easier to connect all points there. That's our fifth point. Connect the points with a straight line. Use a ruler, straight edge of some sort to do that. So let's look at that really quick here. We have y equals, and again, I'm going to color code, m x plus, oh, I did that backwards this time. Sorry, let me erase that. Use the same colors throughout the whole thing. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? I'm going to line these up. Well, in this case, what is our b? What is that number at the end of our equation? Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Our last number is plus 3. That's our y-intercept. That means what is our m? What is our slope? Well, that's negative 3 over 2. So let's see what that looks like on a graph. Remember, we want to graph the y-intercept first. We just found the y-intercept. We found the slope. That's step 1 and 2. Now I want to graph the y-intercept. Okay, so let's graph the y-intercept in red. That's our b. And that's plus 3. So remember, this is our y-axis, up and down. So we want to go to positive 3. Positive 3 is our y-intercept. Then we want to use our slope. I'm going to use blue for this, to count out our next point. And this says negative 3 over 2. That means negative 3 up or down. And since it's negative, it's down. And it says over 2 to the right. So I'm going to start at my point, count 3 down, negative 3. 1, 2, 3, which puts me here. Then I have to count over 2. 1, 2. And this would be my second point to graph. I can do it again. Count again. 1, 2, 3 down, negative 3, and over 2. And that gives us 3 points to graph on this line. I'm going to pick a line here. Oops, wrong one. There we go. And we are going to connect our 3 points. There you go, as best as you can. Sometimes it might not be perfect. And don't forget that when we draw a line, It goes on forever in both directions, so we add arrows. Now it's how we graph an equation. Let's put these points into a table. Well, we know that our first point right here was 0, 3. We're on the y-axis, so it's 0, 3. Our second point, well, we didn't go up or down, so that means on the y-axis we had a 0. But how much did we go on the left and right? That's 1, 2. On my x, I went 2. And if you notice, I'm putting that in my x column. I went 2 on my x, and I didn't go up and down at all, so I go 0 on my y. And then last but not least, let's count my x's. 1, 2, 3, 4 to this point. So that means x is 4. And down 1, 2, 3. I went down 3. Now I have my table created from my graph. Awesome. If you have any questions on that, please comment, send me a message. We'll be happy to help. We have part 2 coming up after this video, so please check for that, and I hope you have a great day.